Hi, I am Reshma, a fashion designer by education, a teacher by profession, but overall a culinary enthusiast by passion. Gastronomy on a banana leaf. I'm a huge foodie thanks to the Malayali blood running through my veins. I guess most of us Malayalis are foodies, and no wonder one of the most famous idioms here is Kanan Vittum Onam Unnanam. Loosely translates to something like it's a must to eat the Onam Sadhya even at the expense of selling one's belongings. So I have this itch to write about Sadhya and about the gastronomy of Kerala. Am I the right person to do so? Probably not, since I myself know very little on the topic. But then 2 years ago, I was at a position where I was not able to relish the Onam Sadhya, and it leads to yet another idiom, roughly translated to, you do not understand the value of your eyes until you lose vision. So the importance of Sadhya was screaming at me, and talking about it with my non-Malayali friends, explaining it to them, somehow made me believe I have enough on the topic. They hung on to each word I said, and is all set to make the Sadhya this Onam, which gave me such a boost to ego that here I am talking about a topic I love but have real little knowledge about. Food anyway is an emotion before facts, and so maybe I will be able to pull it off. Growing up in Saudi, Onam was always just after we returned from summer vacation at Kerala. So my experience and knowledge is actually very minimal. Talking to my friends about the health benefits of Sadhya took me to the old golden days and the healthy systems of my ancestors. Lifestyle disease is a very common term now. But then, what was the better lifestyle then? The day began early in the morning, rising even before the sun. A dip in the icy cold pond was a necessity. Brushing teeth was either with activated charcoal or the yellowed leaves from the mango tree by the pond. Tongue cleaning was organic and biodegradable stem of the coconut leaf blade divided into two. Breakfast could be anything from idli, which was traditionally steamed in the jackfruit leaves, to puttu, appam, etc. But the healthiest breakfast, now proven to be the most healthiest food ever, was the Vellukkunnel, also known as Parackan. The leftover rice from the day before and maybe a pinch of fenugreek seeds was soaked in water and left to ferment overnight in a clay pot, and eaten the next day with curd, shallots and bird's eye chili. Drinking water is either stored in copper jars with vetiver or a herbal mix of barks, seeds and roots which are boiled with water and served warm, known as Karingali Vellam. Every aspect of the Kerala nutrition is heavily rooted in Ayurveda. Ayurveda says heat is removed by heat, and thus this lukewarm water is had throughout the summer months too. There are a variety of vellam in itself, from Karingali Vellam to Chukku Vellam to Jeeraga Vellam, Malli Vellam, Uluva Vellam, the list goes on, and each with a different purpose and benefit. Milk thistle boiled water is said to be a cure for kidney stones. Coconut shell boiled water for cholesterol, guava leaves for vitamins, and the list goes on. Yeah, we are pretty old to the whole induced and detox water fad. Food was either cooked in earthenware, cast iron or copper, and sometimes even brass alloy. Of course, each one had its own health benefits, and food was always made over the wooden fires. After the embers would die, the ash would be taken to be used as a dishwash powder. The coir, or the outer husk of the coconut, was used as the scrubber. Pretty neat, isn't it? Dinner almost always was rice porridge with a legume or pulse, eaten with a makeshift jackfruit leaf spoon that is rich in antioxidants and also imparts special flavor to the gruel. Okay, I guess all these are beginning to get boring, and so now on to the Sadhya. Sadhya differs for everything. Birthdays, death, Onam, Vishu and marriage each has its own different Sadhya. A very interesting fact is that the 20 plus dishes comprising the Sadhya is purely vegetarian, all locally grown vegetables. And none of these regular day-to-day items such as mulagusham or pulingari makes it to the Sadhya. The green leafy part of the Sadhya begins and ends with the banana leaf on which the Sadhya is served. No other leafy vegetable makes it onto the leaf except nowadays cabbage, as it barged in along with the new easily available non-local vegetables like carrots and tomatoes. The most important Sadhya is of course the Onam Sadhya. Onam is incomplete without the Malayali superfood plantains. Traditionally, Onam Sadhya preparations and celebrations began from Attam. Ripe and unripe bunches of bananas and plantains are hung from the ceiling. Breakfast will always include steamed plantains with pappadam for at least the 10 days of Onam celebrations. Plantain is a superfood very rich in potassium and sodium amongst the other vital nutrients, and steaming them just makes it easier for the body to absorb it. A lot of energy is needed for a lot of games, swinging and hunting for flowers that happen this season. Raw plantains would be peeled and made into banana chips known as Norukuperi, a thicker quartered cut cousin of the normal banana chips, and the sweet and spicy, gingery and thick, difficult to eat Sharkara Uperi, all in copious amounts of coconut oil. The jugaad in the desi is awakened and the nutrient-rich plantain skin is used to make a tasty stir-fry. Each day a new dish to be served at the Onam Sadhya is prepared, like the Injipuli, a sweet tamarind relish, Vadagapuli Naranga, which is an instant wild lemon pickle, Manga curry, that is instant mango pickle, etc. A nuclear family would probably prepare a Sadhya with the basic necessities of say 10 dishes, but a normal Sadhya has over 20 dishes, while an extravagant one would have up to 60 dishes or more. I wonder how such a grand idea was thought and executed to perfection. For every element on the banana leaf, and the leaf in itself has a role to play. All of this using very little spices and also only vegetables and coconuts, sans onions or garlic. We can boast that our Sadhya is even Jain friendly. The Kerala Sadhya isn't considered one of the healthiest banquets for no reasons after all. Those who came up with the Sadhya truly deserves high ranks in heaven. Yes, coconut oil is a very acquired taste, but all over the years I have not found one non-Malayali who hasn't fallen in love with the Sadhya. Every element on the Sadhya has coconut or coconut oil in it. And coconut, which is high in MCT and lactic acid, is the best as it directly goes from the digestive tract to the liver for ketone production, and thus one end up being stored as fat. No wonder some Westerners start their day with a spoonful of extra virgin coconut oil. Let's move on to the elements of the Sadhya. A banana leaf. Preferably, the tip is placed in front of you on the floor once you are seated, the wider end towards your right. Of course, you need to eat it sitting down and with your hands so that the chakras are in full alignment and you have a soulful experience. There is a place for each item and a system as to what should be served after what. A little water may be given to wash the leaf for the paranoid in you. The Sadhya is served on the banana leaf, not only because it is plentiful in Kerala, but when the hot food is in contact with it, it releases oils that are antioxidant rich. The Sadhya starts with a pinch of salt because no cook is arrogant enough to consider their seasoning is perfect for all. The chips, achar, relish etc. are served one after the other, leaving the rice for the last. Of course, by this time, the appetizers like the chips are polished off and the digestive system gets a kickstart. Usually, you make a well in the middle of the hot rice for the runny curries. All other dishes will be already there on your leave. First morsel of the rice is eaten with unseasoned dal and ghee. A piece of papadam can be added to make up for the salt. The Keralian papadam is different from the papad found throughout India, for this papadam is very light, delicate and puffs up a lot more and has maybe double the amount of salt. The papadam used to be usually toasted and only gets a chance for an oil bath during Onam, making it a delicacy. The dal or parippu served varies depending upon the region. In the south, a parippu curry is poured over the rice, while in the mid-Kerala, only a spoonful of thick unseasoned dal is served. You can mix and match the rice and the curries to your preferences. The injipuli gets your salivary glands to go into an overdrive. When the flavor of one dish overpowers the other, a piece of olen, ashgard, cooked in coconut milk acts as a palate cleanser. All the side dishes are made with minimal flavorings, letting the vegetables take the main stage, and it shows. Vegetables need minimal support to shine. Kalan, Olan, Avial, Kichadi, Pachadi, Elisheri, on goes the list. Each region has its own name and different ingredients for each dish. Kalan usually is made 2 to 3 days earlier with elephant yams and plantains in a thick curd sauce, and letting it sit simply ups the probiotic factor, while the alkaline vegetables used do good to your body. Avial is a medley of vegetables cooked in a coarse coconut base, which is almost everyone's favorite and is unsurprisingly a powerhouse of nutrients. Merukku literally translates to greased, is a simple stir fry, while thoran is the stir fry with coconut. Pachadi is the raw raita, while khichdi is the cooked kind. After the dal, a serving of hot pulisheri, buttermilk based curry, is served, followed by the mighty sambar. All this while the sides keep getting refilled. Unlike most cuisines, dessert for the Malayali traditionally comes right in the middle of the meal to help the body digest it well. Dessert is always payasam, whether it is 1 or 4 or more. Milk-based palada is a cloud pleaser made with rice pasta simmered in milk until it has reduced so much so that it turns pink. Other milk-based payasams such as semia or panjara payasam, the Malayalis' rice pudding, may be served. Pal payasam or milk-based payasam is sometimes mixed with papadam for texture and flavor contrast. The jaggery and coconut milk-based payasam, which is high in iron, is served after the milky version. It could be nutrient-rich moong dal, chana dal, rice or wheat, or even pasta known as ada. Sometimes it is even made with fruit jams like plantains or jackfruit. The puvan param or the small banana is mashed and mixed along with this jaggery payasam. New varieties of payasam such as carrot payasam, tender coconut payasam, pineapple payasam, avel payasam and many others sometimes make an entrance. Of course, even the liquidy payasam is served on the banana leaf and is eaten with the hands. But if practice is needed to learn how to grab it and cup the fingers without losing it on the way to the mouth. There is something special about the sweet flavors of the payasam mixing with the smell of the banana leaf and the tiny idbits left over from the savory courses. After the dessert, before your eyelids begin to get heavy, another serving of rice comes your way and some rasam is poured into your cupped hands to reawaken the digestive system with spicy kickstart. The rasam gets the digestive juices flowing again and also takes away any lingering sweet taste in the mouth. A helping of spiced buttermilk is poured over the rice to mark the end of the grand feast which settles down the stomach. The leaf is folded, usually away from you to avoid any of the leftovers dripping towards you. Water served along with the sadhya is always chukkuvellam, which is dry ginger water and helps with digestion. Wait! The meal isn't over yet. You get up, and after you are done washing, there will be a platter full of betel leaves, lime and areca nut. You make your own pan, which acts as a palate cleanser, mouth freshener and also the last bit aiding in digestion. If the sadhya is eaten in the systematic way, you do not feel full or want to sleep away like a python, which almost always happens with the other tasty feasts. All in all, sadhya is a true wonder, and I am so proud of being born into the land of sadhya and being able to make one from scratch. Unlike the popular belief, it isn't as difficult as one imagines it to be. Yes, a lot of prep is required when it comes to cutting the vegetables in different shapes for different dishes, scraping the coconut and extracting the coconut milk. But a little planning takes you a long way. If you haven't yet tried making the sadhya, I encourage you to do so. You will not regret the decision, and the joy of preparing and serving your own sadhya, as the joy of serving your own sadhya knows no bounds. Food to me gives more happiness when I see the smile of my labor on another's face in the form of a happy, satiated smile. Happy Onam!